tonight it's exciting because we get to talk to Polly, and Polly is the new associate at Firefly Counseling. She's so cool. I'm excited for this. Okay. So tonight, Polly really gets to kind of introduce herself to everybody, kind of what she does and her expertise and what she's bringing to Firefly, which I'm super jazzed about. And then and also little like tips and tricks for everyone as your like gift from us to you is just some coping strategies for the holidays because it's not always holly jolly. So this is a good opportunity for us to help support some other folks through this time of year. So I'm going to move over here to like where we go from here because, maybe I had tech guidance on how to start an Instagram live up, not my jam, not my jam. So do you want to just start off with telling folks a little bit about who you like to work with?
Yeah, I sure will. And before I do, just thank you, Tracy, for this opportunity to do this Instagram Live, and then also just to be a part of Firefly, for which I'm truly grateful and excited, very excited. So what I'm bringing to Firefly and what I like to do to help folks whom I see. So subset of clientele whom I see. So I see men and women who have experienced trauma and grief, and that range is very wide in terms of what exactly that means for what people have gone through. It is my belief that we all have the ability to heal and are on a healing journey, all of us, and I feel honored to be a part of people's healing journey. And shepherd things and maybe, say a few things to the service of helping people. I work with couples as well. I'm Gottman trained, and I also have training in mindfulness, self-compassion, as well as my grief certificate, and also in motivational interviewing, which for as much as it sounds like, motivational, it's really about change, and really getting at and accessing people's ability to change. So that's what I work with.
So awesome. Yay. I love it. Yes. I feel like your like grief certificate is phenomenal. Like that program that you went through is like so cool. So I'm so glad that you have that. And I know you went through that like yoga teacher training program at Tosa Yoga, which was phenomenal.
That's right.
So I know like I know I tend to be a little bit more like up here sometimes in my therapy. And I feel like you kind of really complement that with like a lot of, I don't know, just more mindfulness, like body work, that type of thing too, which I think is really sweet.
Yeah, I do in my work with folks, and just also being a human being my own self. It is really important to be grounded, aware of our bodies, and we can get so up in our heads.
Yes.
And it's so, because it's like, well, therapy, I'm sort of like thinking about how I'm going to change. I'm thinking, and that's just a part of where we kind of get hooked and trapped is in that when, it's our whole person, including our body, that is like a piece and part and of this change. So, and also just like neurobiologically and biologically, in order to do that healing, just the really important piece of being able to downregulate. Because when we have our lid flipped and we're in fight, flight, or freeze, not allowing our parasympathetic nervous system to help us chill, healing can be a lot more difficult. So sort of like how to modulate, how to bring that down.
Totally. Yeah. I think the body is such an important component. And I think all like the latest research in like trauma and grief is moving to body work. So I think that's so important and so needed. And that regulation piece is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard the thing, like you have to feel it to heal it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I love that.
Yes.
I love it because I think it's so true. And from someone who like intellectualized through much of my personal therapeutic journey.
Yeah.
It's a different kind of beast. It gets a little bit deeper, which I think is so helpful.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I know you were kind of alluding into some of this, but just how you work best with clients.
Yeah.
What kind of can people expect from you in that kind of therapeutic dynamic?
Yeah, sure thing. Well, I mean, in the room with me, I think the mindfulness self-compassion piece is sort of like, I don't, the bigger framework around which I work, because I do find that it is through, our compassion for ourselves that we are able to access that healing. I mean, very rarely, if ever, does sort of like browbeating oneself of like, I have to change, or I don't like this, or I don't want this, or
Yeah, that doesn't work.
doesn't work as much as like, square peg round hole. Um,
Right.
and so like being able to not only have that awareness, but the acceptance piece and that place from which, to launch. So that's a big piece and part of the framework that I work in. We also, we talk a lot about patterning of behavior. So how someone is, interacting with the world and interacting with their loved ones is often like, we can see that through a lifetime. So maybe like behaviors that we do, probably, well, they started early on because it's through, I think I heard this quote about like, it's through relationships that we are hurt, and it is also through relationships that we heal.
Yes, I love
Um,
that one.
yeah. And so, and in some ways I see that as part of my role too, because in the room, we really get the opportunity to bring some of these painful or whatever sort of experiences, up to bear, into the light of day, talk about them, process them, hold them, um, and, help to the service of healing.
Yeah.
Um, so that's like, that is a big piece and part. Those are big pieces and parts
Yeah.
of how I work with folks.
Well, and I love that relational component that you bring into this, because I know like the practice has kind of just been focused on like women and teens. But I think a lot of that is like how many clients I get who are looking for a therapist for their partner, and like you're perfect for that. Or
Yeah.
how many people are looking to process what they've learned and grown in their trauma processing with a partner, and you can do that through couples. So it's such an awesome compliment. And not only can you kind of partner like individually with people
Yeah.
and like help work through those relational components that way, but then to really be able to kind of support people and their relationships. I think that's such a cool way that we can kind of like offer and like spread the love, spread the
Yes.
firefly love, you know?
Yes. Yeah.
So I think that's really cool. So a little bit on that, and again, kind of like alluding into that,
Yeah.
I know our practice has focused a lot on trauma and grief.
Yeah.
And I just kind of want to get your framework on that, because I think that's one of like the pieces that we just align so much
Yeah.
brain wise, and why I was like, this feels like such a logical fit
Yeah.
for, an add-on and someone who I like really trust kind of in, supporting the practice this way too,
Yeah.
with just how you think about trauma and grief.
Yeah. Well, we're not immune to it. None
What?
of us sort of any, and we all carry, we all carry this, both things. I mean, sort of like looking at the arc of a lifetime, like when we leave this world, we are leaving just, we are leaving it, and we all like along the way, it's accumulation of losses, and I'm not going to say getting good at that, but recognizing that, and that is like a part of what it is, that like the beauty and the challenge of life. So and really getting unstuck from the ones that have been incredibly painful, um, and more than painful, maybe nuanced, maybe complex. Um, and then also, grief, I believe, comes up over a lifetime. So, um, you know, maybe we suffered a loss sort of early on in our life, um, that can end up appearing later. So perhaps it happened like early developmentally, and then if we have a child that's going, at that age, and we witness, something for them, those feelings that they can, no matter how much work we may have done on ourselves, how much therapy we may have been in, these things re-arise, these lessons re-arise.
Mm-hmm.
Um, And I would say the same thing for like trauma and, um, yeah, trauma from like the little T's to the big T's,
Yeah.
sort of welcoming that all because and how trauma is really like a felt experience. So if something like seemingly as benign as like moving when you're a child or um, I don't know, just all sorts of things that may just seem maybe not the biggest T.
Yeah.
Those can be if that felt sense of that loss or that change is traumatic to someone, that's where we start. And we've all got that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
everyone has something to
Right.
process as it relates to trauma.
Totally. I think of like trauma, like I feel like the word has such a bad like rip, you know?
Yeah.
Like I think really any experience that's changed how you see yourself in the world, to me, at least in how I kind of conceptualize people, like that's trauma,
Yeah.
you know? And like the other piece of it, like the flip of it is like it's so like important in just like how we learn to exist in the world, you know, and like adaptive in that way. And I think that there's so many people who come in that don't are like are mad about their trauma response or like, oh, I can't do this because of my trauma response. In reality, like this is like trying its hardest to like keep you freaking alive,
Yeah.
like to help you survive, you know? So I love that you have that compassionate mindset too, to kind of help bring that in. Cause I think that's so pivotal in, you know, traumatic growth. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Adding on to that, I'm glad you brought up that piece of like the not liking the trauma because that is something and then that is something to go through
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes on the other side of it the person that we are changed into couldn't have happened without some of those things happening.
Right.
So how to offer a lot of grace to ourselves, and to be clear, um, uh, just I'm not talking about some of the big T's that it's relating to like safety and like
Right.
because I don't want to diminish people's experience and say like, oh, we can all learn and feel good about our trauma on the
Right.
backside of
Right.
it
Right.
because that may not be true.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to honor that, and I want to honor the fact that like sometimes we can love what happened to us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of routes that it can go with that. It's hard work too. Like it's not just this easy, like skip over, like just have compassion, we're good to go, you know. But I think, you know, the whole journey can be transformative in a lot of folks' lives, even just some of the like awareness and education around trauma and how it impacts them. Like a lot of people just think they're like losing it
Yeah.
or, you know, they're just lost their spark or they're just stuck in this thing and it doesn't have to be that way. Yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing that I would say is super interesting about it is sort of like how it is that it presents can be like, because it does present so differently in all of different folks. Like,
Yeah. Right.
sometimes like, like panic attacks, like, and those are so interesting because it's like, why is this happening to me during this random time
Yep.
that's seemingly unlinked to another thing? Oh, okay, that is the work at processing the trauma.
Yeah.
Or
Mm-hmm.
maybe migraines, maybe somatic feelings in the body
Yep.
that are, I mean, these are, um, or adaptive behaviors that are like really spinning out of control in a way that's like affecting our functioning. Anyways,
Totally.
so
Yeah.
the way that it appears can be really interesting, and I think those they kind of start with trauma that has happened.
Yeah, totally. I love that. I love that. I think too, trauma therapy is such a cool dynamic too, because I feel like the number of people I have who have like been doing therapy for years and haven't felt like anything, or they feel like they've talked something to death, you know,
Yes.
like really, I think it can be so transformative. Even just having someone like help narrate like what's going on, like you're having a panic attack or panic attacks, and what if this is trauma related?
Yeah.
Or you're having like painful sex or like pelvic floor dysfunction, like that could also like be related to a past trauma that you've had, you know. So I think those all these pieces kind of come together, which is what
Yeah.
makes trauma counseling so
Yeah.
cool. I'm like
Well,
such a dork.
yeah. Well, I'll pass it right back to you because I mean, sort of getting into the somatic part and getting into like, the neurobiology of it is that and this is one thing that I really love about EMDR and that
Mm-hmm.
particular work that you do is just how we get to really deeply access. Um, uh, sorry, someone's doing handstands over in the living room.
That's right. I got a kid like fighting bedtime behind me. So
It's okay. Like that's um, um, yeah, just like EMDR is so amazing because what it does is really help take us out of our head and out of the talk because it's just really nuanced
yeah.
and
Yeah.
um uh, uh, anyways, and all of the deep healing that can happen with EMDR.
Mm.
You
Yeah,
know,
it's so cool, like just that, like to see the communication, like when the communication just been like here on up, and then you get into EMDR and it's like, oh look, we're having a conversation with everything. It's
it
super cool.
is amazing. Yeah. Yeah.
So for you, I just want to get a sense of how you feel change comes about for folks. What do
Yeah.
you kind of see for yourself? And please feel free to ignore my yelling child
Oh, I
behind me
can't
too.
even hear it.
Okay, good. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
nothing going on behind me. It's fine. It's under control here.
Yes. Yes.
But yes, how change
Um,
comes about from kind of how
yeah.
you think about clients.
Yes. Well, I think this really goes back to, that to that compassion piece, and that's like a big component of it. And I think step one is bringing the awareness to it, and so, and that is one thing that I like to do with my clients. Is really like let's really talk about what this is, what this is about, maybe how this behavior came about, what were some roots of it, how does it, this is one of my favorite things, is like, how's this protect you?
Yeah.
What is this behavior doing to like protect you? Either from, fear, how's it keeping you safe, seemingly,
Yes.
or embarrassment or rejection or pain. Um, uh, and so we like bring that awareness in. Um, and then also just like not only the awareness but the compassion and the grace and the part of that of like, okay, this thing that you're doing that you really loathe or you really want to change, let's talk about the fact that like there were pieces and parts and reasons that this came about, to help you.
Yep.
And that, okay, thank you for that part of the journey. What is next? What do we want the next part to look like? So words that I hear that give me a little bit of pause or caution are things like, well, I really shouldn't be doing this, or
Right.
I really I try and catch every should that happens on my in my room, like what did that, or this is another favorite of mine of like, well, I have to. It's
Mm-hmm.
like that is another one that, when we sort of put ourselves sort of in back in like more of a passive position and not thinking that okay, what choice is available? Because there's probably a choice in here, and let's just go figure out what all those choices are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yes, so should, or other words that are like, it's not supposed to be like that, it's not normal, it's not, I usually then, like, let's dig in there and find out,
Yeah.
because
Right.
um
Because you believe that for a reason.
yeah,
Like that's there for a reason,
yeah,
and it's probably not as easy as just like stop it.
it's not as easy to stop it.
You
and
know.
and it's not as easy as like, well, I'm gonna tough love
Yeah.
it through this, like, or, and I mean, more love, less tough, maybe so,
Right.
but like otherwise I would say, yeah, change comes about, well, in many different ways, but I think those are really key components to it, is the awareness, the compassion, the acceptance of, as well as the excitement of what it is that is possible.
Yeah.
And even in that change, there is a loss, because as we shift and change, we're losing maybe a behavior that we didn't like anyway, but nevertheless, that's over.
Yes. Yeah.
Um,
I see Lily had said more love, less tough love. And I love
yes,
that. Lily, preach it out. Yes.
yes, yeah. I mean, sometimes we need to change just because like things are so exigent and we just got to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Then,
Yep.
and in those instances, I end up seeing a lot of processing of like, of that timeline and how short that was of like getting from X to Y and
Yeah.
making peace with where things have landed.
Mm-hmm.
And lastly, just the excitement about what is on the other side
Totally.
and the possibility and potential of what that freedom really can mean to somebody, I think can get so exciting that people want to.
Yeah. It can be hard to get there, so, but it's such a good tool if you can kind of get to that end of like, where are we going with this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
always say, like, with good psychoeducation and self-compassion, like, feeling
Yes.
stuff, and then we're good to go, like that's kind of like the essential components that I think if everyone had just, some understanding about what was going on from a psychological perspective with compassion, you know, like how much better off we'd all be in
Yes.
some of those ways. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah.
Um, okay. So I'm curious, are we moving into Christmas stuff now? It's the
Right. Yeah.
holidays, man.
Yeah.
Some people are jazzed, but most are not.
Yeah.
This is like the time of year I don't really enjoy being a therapist because there's just a lot of external pressure
Yeah.
and internal pressure. And then just like all the stuff that we've been working through all year is just still going on,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. It
So,
really, yeah.
yeah,
I mean, it can kind of become a crucible um, for all that we work on in the room.
right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, given this and given your kind of expertise, I'm curious for any folks who have maybe like challenging family dynamics coming up in the next week or so, or any other kind of like, I was thinking too, just like people who are challenged, like not feeling holly jolly, not feeling
Yeah.
like ready for this holiday, or not really feeling in the spirit, or feeling opposite of what everyone's supposed to be feeling,
Yeah.
just anything that you could kind of recommend, or coping strategies, or still skills or strategies to kind of help people get through this
Yeah.
time of year.
Yeah. Yeah. And that last piece and part that you said, like not feeling holly jolly, and the rest of the world or our culture is saying like it is holly jolly off the chain right now. So get on
Mm-hmm.
board. So that, I mean, even just culturally, the shoulds can like sit right on
Yes.
us. Where I mean, let's acknowledge like it is about to be the darkest day. I don't know where I'm getting my vitamin D. When are we going to see the sun again? This stuff, just like as human beings, is hard to live in this latitude.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yes.
it's very hard. Um, so yeah, and yeah, holidays are upon us. So and for because it is oftentimes family stuff that has us in therapy to process, to get through, to learn how to set boundaries, do all that particular work, and then yeah, it's like taking it out in the field for like a serious like
Yes.
boot camp.
Field challenge.
Serious, yes. So things that can be helpful to the service of getting through this time. Um, and three that I think are really notable and can be helpful, easy to remember. Um, so one of the things that I think is so important for people that are processing trauma, especially from family of origin, is to set up safety nets. So when I say that, that can appear in so many different, that is really up to the person. So just giving an example, if someone is traveling to the holidays to a family member, or at an event where there's going to be a mixture of people that they feel okay around, and maybe some that they don't feel okay around. Um, so setting up safety nets, and what those can look like can be like making a plan of, I will be at this event for an hour and a half. I got an hour and a half in me. And after that time, I will leave. And holding, being flexible with that, but holding to it. Um, or like, okay, I'm going to go stay at this person's house. This is one I see a lot because, sleep and privacy is something that is really important for us to reground. Um,
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it doesn't feel super great to stay at someone's house.
Yeah.
So, maybe getting a nearby hotel room or staying, and I want to acknowledge that that's not necessarily feasible for everybody to get a hotel room when they're going, but making some sort of plan where they're able to kind of get some space that they feel safe enough to just be at peace. Um, and, also like, well, I'll just add to this along the lines of safety net, even that spidey sense that comes up, like, I don't know what is going to happen at this dinner or at this event or when I'm sitting alone with so and so, but when I get this feeling, like giving oneself permission to like, and this is when I'll exit. It can also be really helpful to have, if you do have a partner or someone who kind of understands. I mean, maybe not a deep dive in all that's happened, but like, I need a little help getting through this occasion. Can you be my person here? I might give you a signal or a nod, and then we jet. And I think making that deal with ourselves, like on the front side, without like, well, what's wrong with me that I can't just stay for like another, doesn't matter. Who cares? You want to go. You want to go? You got to go. Let's go. And then also honoring that. So when that spidey sense come up or the timer hits or you give that signal, you
We done.
yeah, we're done. And I think that is self-compassion right there.
Yes.
Listening, honoring the boundary that we set, listening to ourselves and going. So safety nets is the first thing that I would say. Um, the second is, getting the opportunity to reconnect and reground with oneself. So in whatever that looks like for people, and I like acknowledging that there's all sorts of ranges of what that looks like. Maybe that is taking a walk. Maybe that is sort of uh, some quiet time, reflection, journaling. Maybe it is just getting a really peaceful night's sleep. But whatever it is, really grounding and connecting to the self um, is um, is another way to get through the holidays. And then thirdly, I would say like find the joy. And when I say the joy, that is so personal for
Right.
everybody. So maybe that is in the family dinner. Because that is, some people actually like that. Um, maybe it is like in seeing beautiful lights, hearing beautiful music. Maybe it is in the darkness that is right now. And finding that joy, because when we do that, when we find our joy, that is a part of our healing, because that's like finding joy can be really revolutionary. Despite all that's happening around us, being able to, um, in whatever we see as joyful, just acknowledging that.
Totally.
So that's what I
I
would say.
love that.
Those are the things that I would offer for
Right.
this time.
Right.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love it because it's nothing like super impractical, and it can be as big or as small as people need it to be, which I think is
Yes.
super awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. These things can happen in moments.
Hmm.
Maybe regrounding is 10 breaths. Maybe
Right.
seeing joy is, half of a song, or,
Hmm.
you know, whatever
Or
it is.
screaming in the basement
Or
somewhere.
screaming in the basement and listening to your own
Yeah.
voice echoing around off the rafters.
Totally.
Yes,
Totally.
exactly. Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Polly, if people are interested in learning more or wanting to meet you, what's the best way that they can get in contact with you to
Yeah.
get rolling?
I have no idea. I'm just kidding. I don't know. I have a phone number. I'm
Yes.
just kidding. Okay, folks can find me at Firefly.
Yeah.
Firefly Counseling MKE
Hmm.
um,
Yep.
is oh, you
Yeah.
see that?
Oh, mine didn't do it.
I
What's that?
know. I
Oh,
don't know. I really found some joy though in that. That
that
was
was
so
powerful. That
cool.
was like building up to that. That was perfect.
That's really good. You know what? I want to share with you one. So my joy
Yes.
is I love to foster animals.
Oh,
And
right.
I mean,
Yes.
it's not always joyful because they do pee on my carpets and
Yeah.
stuff. But so this is my the way that I'm getting through this time is this
Yes.
thing right here. Come
Oh,
on.
my goodness.
Oh gosh. just picked this little thing up
Oh
this morning.
my goodness, what a little puppas. Oh
Yeah,
my
this is
goodness.
Destiny. Her name's Destiny right now.
I love
Yeah,
that. How old is
I
Destiny?
think 4 months.
Oh my gosh, we should turn this into like a foster
Yeah, yeah.
live. If you want Destiny, contact Polly.
Oh my gosh, it's a really good
She's
idea.
doing 15-minute consultations and she's got a puppy.
And I got a puppy. Yes,
That's so
he's
funny.
in therapy.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yes, yeah,
Yes. No, Firefly Counseling has
yes.
a bunch of clicking
Yep.
things you can do for the 15-minute
Yes.
consult. She's got some openings for newer clients.
Yep.
And always, I encourage if people just need referrals, like you can always reach out to the contact us, and me or Polly are happy to connect you with anyone in the mental health world, because it's just obnoxious to navigate and sift through on your own.
Yeah.
And we have a ton of awesome partners in the community that we trust, like Lily, who's been with us. Look at you
Yes.
go, Lils.
Yay.
Healing therapy. Look, you get fireworks too from Polly. Awesome. Well, we
Yeah.
can let folks probably get on to the rest of their
Yeah.
evening. Is there anything else that you wanted to add?
No, this was just so much fun, and thank you for this. And yeah, I look forward to yeah, we get into this work because we want to help people.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I would love the opportunity to and that this affords to like reach more
I
and
know.
more folks.
I
So
know. Maybe we should do this more often, Polly, just the, like
that'd be really
topics and chatting with people.
fun. Yes.
Oh, look, Alyssa just joined.
Oh, that's
Hello,
super
friend.
awesome.
That's my little bestie. She's cute.
Oh,
Thank
that's sweet. That's
you.
sweet. Yeah, more topics, more
Totally.
things.
More topics. Maybe
Sure.
we'll do it quarterly or something. We'll
I
talk
love
about
it.
it. We'll get it together, but I feel like
Yes.
we got good vibes here, and I think that we could
Good
just
vibes. This
spread
is,
it.
I mean, I would worry, Tracy, that we would go viral and then like
Dude.
it
Oh,
actually
right.
turns it into therapy comedy show.
Oh, something like that. We'd have to take it on the road.
Yes.
Some sort of stadium
Do that.
tour. Oh, that'd be so cool, to like a healing stadium tour.
Be so
We're getting
good.
ahead of ourselves a little bit too
Okay. Okay.
much, but
Yes. I love the plans.
we'll dream big. We'll manifest it.
Yeah.
All right, Polly. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for stopping in and
Yeah.
joining us and getting to meet Polly. I'm so happy that you were able to join us.
Thank you,
And we hope
Tracy.
that everyone just has a good holiday, or gets through the holiday, or whatever you need to hear with this holiday coming up.
Absolutely.
And we do have, Polly will be talking at Tosa Yoga has their 19-year anniversary on the 25th of January, so she will be talking at 2:15 in the yoga studio. It's free to pop in there, and just I think it's like how yoga, like the similarities between yoga and
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
therapy, which I think will be a really
Exactly.
cool opportunity. Also, if you know any folks who are having a hard time getting in to see a therapist, we'll be offering 15-minute consultations throughout the entire period of that. There's more information on the Instagram page, and also there's links in the bio for scheduling the 15-minute consults, and also to the website. So that's where you can kind of reach us, and where you can expect to see us next.
Yes.
On the road.
Next
In our
experience.
office space.
Yes. Yes.
Anything we wanted to add with that, Polly?
No, I'm getting super pumped about that talk. We get to talk a little bit more about somatic, about the body, and about the connection, between yoga and therapy, and the different pieces and parts that we see in both.
Totally.
So
Totally. I think Melanie has yoga classes going on that you have to sign up online for, but if you want to stop by, I think there'll be a couple people from the wellness kind of collective that were in there. You can always stop in and just see the space too. So
yeah.
Or if you're a client, you can always stop in and just do like one of these, and we'll be like, or we can talk, because we're not like that. We're cool. We're cool therapists. We're cool therapists,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
But anyway,
yeah,
okay,
there'll
awesome.
be yoga on the front side and yoga on the back side, and then a talk in between, and celebrating
Yes.
yeah, the awesomeness that is Tosa Yoga, and
sure.
the alliances that happen like as a part of that pretty magical building.
I know. It's so cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool.
All right.
Well, everyone have a good night. Thanks again, Polly, and
Welcome.
see you on the
Thank you,
flip side.
Tracy. See you on the
welcome.
flip side.
See ya.
Okay. Yeah. Bye.